So for those of you who remember, recently, Mang0 got in trouble at a Ludwig-hosted event. The reason why Mang0 got in trouble is because he got very, very intoxicated, blew a 0.32 on the BAC scale, and he got a lot of criticism for, essentially, sexually harassing multiple women. The reason why Ludwig has been getting into a bit of trouble is because a lot of people are claiming that he enabled him, and that he should bear a level of responsibility for Mang0's action. There are videos to suggest where Ludwig was actively encouraging, while Mang0 was getting drunk, to keep drinking and to keep getting more drunk than he already was. Now, he made a response that a lot of people didn't take too well. I thought this was a pretty good response in the moment. I did say that there is some criticism that you can give him for facilitating an event like this. We will continue to uncover just how much he is to blame for this.
Damn.
Announcement where he says, I will no longer invite this guy to any of our events, given the fact that he does have a trouble with alcohol. What he neglects to mention, though, is that, yes, he did encourage, at the very least, hype up Mang0's tendency to get incredibly drunk. Mang0's wife chimed in as well and had this to say. Mang0's wife comes out and says this in some Twitter responses. I watch you on stream asking Mang0 to take shots. Of course, your little teeny bopper viewer, wants to pretend that never happened. People were vomiting at your event, and you never once decided to pull. Hope you enjoy your grace for banning Mang0 while encouraging him to get wasted. Word for word, I need to do a shot. Where's Mang0? And there has been clips that have been resurfacing that I do want to, measure out, see just how bad they are, see how culpable he really is for ruining Mang0's life, is what some people are saying. I don't think that's the case. Somebody like Mang0 should have enough responsibility to look after their own behaviors and not really let other people push them in certain directions. So here we have this compilation of images, which I found pretty humorous. This hits different. Ludwig used the alcohol breathalyzer on Mang0 and see the alcoholic levels, and writes Mang0 BAC levels as an achievement. Look at this soy face. Look at this soy face over your friend getting like bad wasted. I have to censor that on the VOD. 0.32. Christ. Top back. Mang0 32. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Now, we do have some clips to look at.
Mang0 is like an alcoholic. Mang0 can drink 30 beers and act the same he does off no beers. He's
Okay, so he was aware that Mang0 has issues.
a machine of a man.
He said he had 7 beers already today.
If you ask him how many beers he's had lifetime, it's probably above 10,000.
Jesus Christ.
He's the two-time champion. He's never lost.
We gotta do PB! Guys, Mang0 just blew a .25!
Okay, yeah. Mang0 just got a 0.25. That was earlier on. But then they keep, they keep, like, hyping this guy up, encouraging him, emboldening him, up until the point where he blows a 0.32. Clearly the most drunk person by a measurable metric. The most drunk person at the event.
Just blew a .25!
Mang0 just blew a .32.
That is my god.
Hey, everybody!
Fucking hell.
Mang0 just blew a .32!
Plotting it. Yeah. This is enabling. This is like straight up enabling. Straight up encouragement. This guy being like essentially the party entertainment, the goat of the party. Of course he's going to feel emboldened. As he's being hyped up, he's going to act out in very, very weird ways. Of course, he should know better than that. But it's very hard after being cheered on by all of your peers to just stop doing something that you know is going to end up badly for you. Because at the moment, especially when your inhibitions are low, given, the fact that alcohol is taking control of you, you're not really going to stop and think, hey, is this really good for my reputation? Is this going to have a good outcome? No. You're going to keep behaving in ways that people are making you feel good for.
Dangerous! That's not good! That's not good! That's dangerous!
Why did he invite him to a drinking? Yes. He knows he's an alcoholic. He acknowledges he's an alcoholic. Invites him to a drinking event. He should have known better. Absolutely.
Those numbers! Everybody, get your second race ready to go!
The thing is like, upon revision, I don't think it's fair to say that Ludwig legitimately threw Mang0 under the bus. Realized that he had a hand in this. Screwed up and was like, you know what? For the safety of other people and for from my knowledge of him, I will probably not invite him to future events where I could become an issue for him and he could become an issue for himself.
Sorry. I thought you were.
But the thing is that you can't put a large chunk of the blame on Ludwig, because if we go back, there are tweets where you can find Mang0 acknowledging that he has a drinking problem. Apparently, a lot of the community and his friends knew that he had a drinking problem. Like, this isn't something unfounded. This isn't something insane. If he's been struggling with this issue for a while, and he's been alcoholic for years, and he's even, like, you know, made tweets in the past, as long as, like, as far back as, like, February 2024, suggesting that he has a problem, then within a year's time, he probably should have wisened up and not participated in something that could have ended up badly. Blaming the alcohol is always the easy way out as someone who has done it, but eventually you realize it's really always up to you. When somebody has a sort of like you know, alcoholic's remorse, they'll be like, I know better, I'll do better. But then they never always do. They always end up reverting back to their own ways until they have like a serious intervention. So, did he know better? I mean, you can't just absolve him of anything and, you know, try to make this seem as if it's a large majority Ludwig's fault. That's not the case. I think that you can definitely criticize him for not understanding the potential harm that might come out of, like, giving somebody a flame, a spark, a fire to continue their very, like, you know, bad behavior. But it's evident that this guy had a problem since the very beginning, and he should also, like, I think that there's a level of scrutiny and accountability that you can have for Ludwig, but to claim that Ludwig deserves a significant amount more, whereas Mang0 was in the past saying stuff like, just got to look at your relationship with alcohol for like 10 minutes, and I think it's pretty easy to see if you can drink responsible and have a good time, or maybe it's not for you, right? If he's making claims like these, he should have had at least the smallest level of foresight to understand that if I behave in these certain ways, it'll end up badly. Knowing himself. And him having, like, these issues for quite a long time. Absolutely, there's a level of criticism that you can, you know, uphold Ludwig to. I haven't spoken on it fully yet. Ludwig failed Mang0 as a friend. This I agree with. I think Ludwig did fail Mang0 as a friend. I know of my own personal friends that have incredibly bad habits. I know of personal family members that have incredibly bad habits. And the last thing that I do is try to put them in a situation where they would be confronted with said bad habits, and they would indulge in said bad habits. I am very mindful of the people around me and try to avoid putting people in bad situations all the time. As a good friend, and as somebody that cares for you, that should be a responsibility that they carry. Enabling and cheering on this level of drinking and not looking after him / not separated from others is incredibly irresponsible. I think this is a fair criticism. I think it is incredibly irresponsible that Ludwig didn't have a level of foresight as well. Ludwig himself also continued drinking and probably messed up his own inhibitions and didn't remain sober as a caretaker for somebody that he knew was an alcoholic and was even talking about being an alcoholic. If you're hosting an event like this, you need security. I agree. I think this is the fairest way of putting it. I absolutely think this is the fairest way of putting it. Of course, Mang0 messed up and has to face the consequences of his actions, and the woman involved should not have been subjected to that. Here's Mang0's wife calling Ludwig out. Ludwig should have hired security for this event, and if he did, they should have been more present.
If you're having him blow a breathalyzer and being like, oh my god, he's like triple the legal limit, you're part of the problem. Wouldn't you be like, hey,
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that is absolutely fair to say. But you have to be able to distinguish just how much of part of the problem he actually is.
Ludwig, I'm almost 30 years old. I probably know that this guy shouldn't be drinking so much.
Okay, you know what? Fair. Fair. Good distinction. Yeah.
So since it's my event, I should pull him aside and tell him to stop. Or not encourage this.
Absolutely.
Yelling and celebrating his insane amount of alcoholism. I'm not saying that he's not responsible for anything that he did, but aren't you responsible for creating a safe environment? This does not create a safe environment.
I think, you know what? I think this is a solid way of observing the situation.
Hey, everybody! Mang0 just blew a .32!
So apparently he was harassing people, because the argument's going to be like, well, I didn't know he was going to harass people. It really shouldn't matter. You shouldn't allow and encourage somebody to be a 0.25% alcohol blood level drunk. That's insane. You should expect something irresponsible. What if instead of harassment, he like ended up like hurting himself because he's so drunk? It's your event. What?
To be clear, that is dangerous. That's not good. That's not good. That's dangerous. Let's up those numbers!
Taking advantage of someone
Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Oh my god.
who has substance problems for entertainment purposes, and then when it goes wrong, you just blame them. He harasses these women all night, and they don't do. Why doesn't Ludwig stop this?
I don't think Ludwig blamed Mang0 explicitly. He obviously deviated a little bit of like the backlash that he would have faced for a situation like this to Mang0, to a limited extent, yes. But to say that he outright blamed Mang0 is just not true.
This is insane to me.
I gotta go back and watch the clip.
You know, it's a privilege to go to an event, man. Like the whole point of an event is like it's a fun thing to do.
It is a privilege to go to an event.
And if
but you are responsible for revoking that privilege from him, for essentially getting him into a position where he was too drunk to have any sort of inhibition.
somebody appearing jeopardizes somebody else having a good time, that just can't be a thing. Now I see a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, there's a level of like blame being separated and pushed onto Mang0 here. I do see that.
On like broader implications, I'm only worried about my team, my events. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't speak for the Melee community. I'm not like championing their any.
He's kind of like being soft with it. He's being very, very soft with it. Again, I still think it's somewhat of an all right response. However, he does share a level of burden, right? You can't say that it's a privilege and then you yourself be a catalyst for why that privilege was revoked. It's just not fair. It's not fair. So to say that he didn't do anything is not entirely correct, but he did try. It wasn't a strong enough attempt, and to be fair, given the fact that he was also, drunk as well and drinking with Mang0, it's likely that he was also having a hard time really, enforcing his rules, enforcing safety. But again, it's incredibly irresponsible and reckless. Ludwig, dude. Ludwig Aron, father died due to complication of alcoholism when Ludwig was 10 years old. He experienced a health crisis, refused hospital care, and passed away after vomiting blood. I'm not sure how true that is. I'm not sure if Ludwig has ever talked about this, but I will do a quick fact check. Because if this is true, and Ludwig has a little bit of experience with alcoholism, he probably would have been more privy to being careful with how you conduct yourself and how you allow your peers to conduct themselves around you when alcohol is involved in situations like these.
Ludwig's dad died tragically of alcoholism, dude. Okay, the other day I wanted to get drunk, and so I thought, what is a way I can get drunk but validate it by doing content? And so I made this video.
Today I'm gonna figure out the fastest way to drink a beer. At first I thought I'd try shotgunning a beer. Finally, I just tried pouring the beer into a cup. And it turns out that
this was a horrible short. No, was it? This was dope. I got drunk as shit Friday night. I had like 10 beers. I hung out with friends and I played video games.
definitely the fastest.
And I got a short from it. What do you mean? But what sucks is I uploaded this, and then I'm looking through the comments. Only Ludwig could turn his descent into alcoholism into content. Ludwig wanted an excuse to get drunk. Mang0 would be disappointed.
Mang0 would be disappointed. Look, as far back as 2 years ago, there's discussions about, as far back as 2 years ago, so people are aware of Ludwig's dad's death. Okay, you know what? Yeah. Absolutely. I think this was obviously a known issue. His community knew about it. Ludwig has even, joked about it and toyed with this. He should have absolutely been more diligent in this entire situation. Yes. You know what? In isolation, if we were to just isolate Ludwig in this situation, given his, and his behavior, you could absolutely criticize Ludwig's behavior. He should absolutely be held to account for his behavior in all of this. Absolutely. That made up my mind. That unironically made up my mind. Mang0 would be disappointed. People have known about Mang0's issues with alcoholism since as far back as 2 years ago. Mang0 would be disappointed.
Drunk. Mang0 would be disappointed. And then this one! Ludwig is truly his father's son. Out of pocket! That is an out-of-pocket comment to make, you son of a bitch! My god! The audacity! Too far. You're bringing up my sickness. My alcohol withdrawals are hitting. My god, you guys are evil. Evil. We have to have at least...
Yeah, there's absolutely something here. Absolutely.